We've all heard the saying, history is written by the victors, right? The usual story we get is that the Spanish conquest of the Americas was just inevitable. It's painted as this epic clash of worlds, where old world steel and germs were bound to crush a new world made of wood and stone. But hold on a second. Was it really that straightforward? What if just one thing like a tiny variable in that complex equation had changed? Imagine if the dazzling city of Tenochtitlan, the largest metropolis in the Americas, had never crumbled. What if the Aztec Empire, with its 15 million people, had stood strong and never been conquered? Now that's a thought worth exploring. Picture this, a world that's not just dominated by Western powers. Imagine the Americas as a superpower, with roots tracing back to the fierce jaguar and eagle warriors. Can you see it? A place where Nahuatl is the language of universities and boardrooms, where the descendants of Moctezuma are the ones striking deals with presidents and prime ministers. It sounds like a dream, right? But believe it or not, this was almost a reality. To really grasp how close we came to this alternate history, let's rewind to 1519. It was a pivotal moment when history seemed to hold its breath, teetering on the edge of something extraordinary. Section 1. The point of divergence, the arrival of Hernan Cortes and his conquistadors, was nothing short of a disaster for the Aztec Empire. But here's the twist. It wasn't just their shiny swords and booming cannons that took down a whole civilization. The real game changer was something you couldn't even see: smallpox. This sneaky virus ripped through Mesoamerica, claiming millions of lives and completely upending the Aztec social order. It was like a biological apocalypse that paved the way for military conquest. Can you imagine the chaos? But this is where our timeline takes a twist. Imagine if, centuries ago, there were small, scattered encounters with Europeans, maybe some lost Norse explorers or shipwrecked fishermen. These brief interactions could have brought along a milder European disease. Sure, it still would have been tough on the indigenous populations, including the Aztecs, but it might have given them generations to develop important immunities. Cortes arrives, but guess what? His secret weapon turns out to be a total flop. Sure, the disease might still be lurking around, but it doesn't lead to that terrifying population drop we learned about in history class. The Aztec armies are still out there, millions strong and ready to fight. Meanwhile, the farmers are busy tending to the chinampas, those amazing floating gardens that kept the empire fed. The whole structure of their society is still standing tall, and it's pretty incredible to think about how resilient they are, right? Cortes, completely unaware that his biggest advantage has just slipped away, is about to have his mind blown. He steps into Tenochtitlan, a city that's not just bigger, but way cleaner than any place in Europe. Picture massive temples, stunning palaces, and incredible aqueducts all around him. It's like stepping into a whole new world. He's quick to make alliances with the Aztecs' enemies, like the Tlaxcalans, who absolutely despised living under Aztec rule. And then, in a bold move, he takes Emperor Moctezuma to hostage. Can you believe that? The Aztecs aren't just a people scared out of their minds, right? They're a proud warrior society, standing tall against what they see as an arrogant intruder. Picture this: the Noche Triste, or Night of Sorrows, when the Spanish were forced to flee the city. It's not just a moment of defeat. It turns into something way more intense. With their warriors rallying together, the Aztecs don't just push the Spanish back, they absolutely annihilate them. It's a powerful statement of their strength and resilience, don't you think? Section 2. The ripple effect, a new world power that victory changes everything. The captured Spanish deer steel swords, crossbows, maybe even a few cannons and horse, aren't just trophies. They're blueprints for something bigger. Aztec metalworkers, already masters of gold and copper, are about to embark on a long, tough journey to figure out how to forge iron and steel. It's not going to be a walk in the park, but you know what? The ultimate motivation survival is the best fuel for innovation. Spain, of course, wasn't going to throw in the towel after just one failed expedition. They'd come back with a bigger fleet, ready to try again. But guess what? They wouldn't find a fractured, plague-ridden empire waiting for them. Instead, they'd be greeted by a united, alert civilization that was quick on its feet. Picture this: Spanish ships sailing in, only to be met by more than just canoes. They'd encounter a fresh Aztec navy, built from captured designs. And those Spanish soldiers? They wouldn't just face obsidian-edged clubs. Nope, they'd be up against a new breed of Aztec warriors wielding steel-tipped spears, fighting alongside newly formed cavalry units. The next attempts at conquest? Let's just say they'd turn into bloody, costly lessons for the Spaniards. With its borders finally secure, the Aztec Empire had to shift its focus inward. This victory was a massive win for the ruling Mexico, right? But here's the kicker. The new emperor, a tough leader who stepped in after Moctezuma was captured, realized the empire's biggest flaw: it was seriously divided. The Tlaxcalans and other groups only teamed up with the Spanish because the Aztecs treated them like they were conquered subjects instead of partners. Can you believe that? It's wild how internal strife can lead to such big consequences. To survive, the empire really needs to adapt and change. It's like a whole new game plan. A bunch of big reforms are about to roll out. Instead of just demanding tribute-like goods and people from the conquered states, they're looking at creating a genuine economic and political union. Imagine this: the subject peoples might actually get a seat at a revamped council, transforming the old Triple Alliance into a real Mesoamerican federation. How cool would that be? One of the most sensitive yet crucial reforms revolves around religion. You see, mass human sacrifice has been at the heart of their beliefs, but it's also sparked a ton of resentment among their subjects and completely tanked their foreign relations. Now, imagine a fresh wave of reformist priests stepping up to the plate. They might push for symbolic offerings or even animal sacrifices instead. This way, they could keep the essence of their faith while ditching the practices that made them feared and loathed. Sure, it would be a messy and chaotic cultural shift, but if they want to thrive and engage with the rest of the world, it's absolutely necessary. By the 1600s and 1700s, the Mexican Federation really started making waves. They cautiously opened up trade and diplomacy with European powers like England, France, and the Netherlands. These countries were totally excited to get a foothold in the Americas and shake things up against Spanish ambitions. But here's the catch. This trade was all on Aztec terms. They traded their gold, silver, and chocolate for technology, science, and livestock, which supercharged their own development. How cool is that? Section 3. An Industrial Revolution, Aztec Style. Europe is diving headfirst into the Industrial Revolution. But guess what? The Mexican Federation is not about to sit back and watch. They've got their own unique approach. Their cities, already stunning examples of smart urban planning, are likely to steer clear of the grime and chaos that plague places like London and Manchester. And check this out: the Chinampa farming system, which is basically a genius way of doing sustainable agriculture, is set to get a serious upgrade. They're ready to modernize and expand it to keep up with their growing population. How cool is that? This blend of cultures would create a fascinating new world. Imagine steam engines powering looms that weave those stunning Aztec patterns. How cool would it be to see observatories using powerful telescopes to make their already brilliant calendar even more precise? And picture printing presses churning out epic poems in Nahuatl. Now, let's talk about the wheel. They famously didn't use it for transport, but if it suddenly became part of their world, it would be everywhere. Can you just imagine how that would revolutionize a civilization that built an empire without it? It's mind-blowing, right? The map of the Americas would look totally different, right? The United States vision of manifest destiny would hit a hard stop at the powerful high-tech Mexica Federation down south. Can you imagine? Westward expansion might just freeze in its tracks or take a completely unexpected turn, possibly leading to proxy wars or a tense, decades-long Cold War. And what about South America? The Inca Empire, noticing the Aztecs' success and having more time to adapt to European technology, might have kicked Pizarro to the curb too. That could have led to the rise of another strong native bloc. How wild is that? The world would be a genuinely multipolar place, right? Imagine the 19th and 20th centuries not just being about European dominance. Picture Aztec ambassadors, decked out in a stunning mix of traditional feathers and luxurious silks, making regular appearances in the courts of Europe and Asia. And then there's the Federation, learning to navigate the tricky waters of global politics. They'd be forming alliances, playing one colonial power against another, just like Japan did in our own history. How wild is that? This alternate world opens up a whole new realm of questions, right? Like, what would Aztec art and philosophy look like today? And how do you think they would have reacted to the world wars? Seriously, the possibilities are endless. It's these alternate paths that make history so fascinating and fun to dive into. If you're all about exploring these intriguing what-ifs, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure into another timeline. We'd love to hear from you too. What other historical turning points are you curious about? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Section 4. A new world order now. Let's jump into the present day of this alternate world. The year is 2025. Mexico Tenochtitlan is truly one of the planet's great megacities, blending ancient charm with a futuristic vibe. Just picture this: soaring skyscrapers with sharp, geometric designs that totally take inspiration from pyramids, standing tall right next to the beautifully preserved Templo Mayor. It's like history and modernity are having a friendly chat, you know? Now let's talk about the massive canals of Lake Texcoco. They're still the lifeblood of the city, but here's the cool part. They're now filled with these sleek, silent electric barges. It's such a clean and efficient way to get around, all while paying homage to the ancient traditions that shaped this incredible place. Isn't that just amazing? Nahuatl is such a fascinating language. It's not just any language. It plays a big role in science, literature, and even diplomacy. Isn't that cool? And let's not forget about the amazing cultural exports from the Mexica Federation. We've got movies that bring old myths to life with mind-blowing special effects, music that mixes traditional drums and flutes with those catchy electronic beats, and a food scene where the rich, bitter spicy flavor of Zocotetl is totally stealing the spotlight, right alongside coffee. How awesome is that? Global politics is like this intricate dance, right? You've got a few major power blocks out there: the North Atlantic Alliance, the East Asian Bloc, and then there's the strong American axis that brings together the Mexica Federation and the Incan Commonwealth down south. Now, picture this. The United Nations headquarters might not be in New York anymore. Instead, it could be in a neutral city like Panama, which really feels like a crossroads between different worlds. How cool would that be? Imagine how much richer science and technology could be. Think about it. All that incredible Aztec astronomical knowledge mixed with European. Science could have sparked some amazing discoveries about the cosmos way earlier than we did. And then there's their profound understanding of herbal medicine. It used to be brushed aside, but now it's a respected part of pharmacology. Just picture the new medicines we could be getting from the rainforest. Isn't that just mind-blowing? This world wouldn't be a perfect utopia, right? The Mexica Federation would definitely have its share of dark moments. Think conflicts, political squabbles, and social issues. The journey from a tribute-based empire to a modern federal state would be anything but smooth, filled with civil wars and rebellions along the way. Now, picture this. The push to modernize would spark some serious divides between traditionalists and reformers. It's wild to think about, but it's all part of their unique history, crafted on their own terms. The fall of the Aztec Empire wasn't destiny. It was the result of a perfect storm of disease, technology, and internal divisions. By changing just one of those things, by giving the Aztecs a fighting chance against old world plagues, the entire story of human history changes. The world we've imagined isn't just some daydream. It's a powerful reminder of all the potential that slipped through our fingers. It paints a picture of a world where the great civilizations of the Americas didn't just fade into history books, but were allowed to keep growing, innovating, and shaping our modern lives. History isn't just a straight path. It's more like a sprawling delta with countless branching streams. The world we know is just one of those streams. While just out of sight, so many others flow on, all stemming from those moments when history could have taken a different turn, leading to entirely new futures.